Hello, my name's Emmanuel Jordan, and I am joined by my co-host,
Justin's Fraction.
and welcome back to another episode of the Tech and Tea podcast. And on this episode, we're going to talk about some of the biggest tech failures of 2024. There were a lot, and so we're basically just going to run through some of the biggest ones and just talk about them, how we feel about them, and if we think any of those issues will spill over into 2025. So let's do a T rundown about some of these topics. So first, we're going to talk about MKBHD. Good Lord. Then we'll get into CrowdStrike and the glitch that happened with that. They crashed all the Windows computers, and that had me sleeping in the Atlanta airport for a nice little 24 hours. And then we'll get into the Humane AI Pin. And then, Justin, what topics are you going to talk about?
Oh, we're going to talk about Nvidia's new Fugatto AI thing and how that affects people like me who are voiceover artists and other kinds of artists. I think all those are tech failures. Also, if you're one of those people that has gone out there and you've updated your iOS to beta, you might be wondering what the heck's going on with Apple's new Siri kind of it's supposedly updated. Apple Intelligence is what they're calling it.
Yes.
But it's not very smart. So we're going to talk about that. And also Apple is developing a new conversational AI. So we'll touch base on that. And then also Sony. So much Sony. We're not focusing on the movies, but those are fails too.
Okay.
But that's it from me. Yeah. So what's up, Emmanuel?
Yeah. Well, if you're listening or watching this episode, we are recording this the week of Thanksgiving, so you'll probably be hearing this after the holidays. Justin, are you celebrating? Are you cooking anything before we get into it?
I own a stove, and it does things. I'm not actively, I'm not following the path of the stove right now. So no, I will not be. I will visit my family and hang out with them.
Okay, that's nice.
What about you?
I will be going to 2 Thanksgivings, one with my mom, one with my partner, and I'm on macaroni and cheese duty for both. So this is usually the worst time of the year for me.
Are you making the TikTok mac and cheese that wonderful cook made?
Was that the one that was really soupy?
Yeah.
Oh my God. No. I'm not doing that one, but I did see that one. But no, I hate it just because shredding, because they always say it's better to actually shred the cheese than use store-bought shredded cheese. So I do have a cheese grinder, but still it's just a lot of cranking to shred all that 5 blocks of cheese, and I have to do it twice. So 10 blocks of cheese. So yeah, but
10 blocks of cheese. What are you doing?
So yeah, I like to have it very cheesy, but not like that TikTok, not too soupy.
Not just.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I felt so bad for her.
Yeah, I did too. But hopefully she'll learn to improve the recipe and go a little light on the heavy whipping cream and cheese ratio.
Yes, no more cooking failures. But yes. We have a show about tech failures.
Yes, we do. What a smooth segue. So, Marquise Brownlee, I have a lot of feelings on this because I've been following him for a while. But I definitely want to get your thoughts on this. But he's had probably the worst, maybe one of the worst years for a tech YouTuber. As we all know, he released Panels in September, which was his wallpapers app that had a subscription price of $49.99 a year or $11.99 a month. And with that, you got basically unlimited wallpapers. And there was a lot of criticism because this is a really niche thing to offer, one, but it's also to put that much of a subscription price on something like that when I haven't downloaded a wallpaper since 2012.
2012?
Yeah, I used to download I used to have a wallpaper app for Androids, and I would go through and pick different apps. Now I just use the standard Samsung live wallpapers. But yeah, to put $50, $12 price on something like that. Of course, people were upset. There was a lot of other issues with the app. There was, location tracking and other things asked of people when they, yes, through the wallpapers. So
Allegedly.
allegedly,
Allegedly.
everything.
We're going to get your data any way you can. Yeah.
But yeah, so he had that controversy. It was in September. He did apologize, and he was really, accepting about some of the issues and mistakes that he made with that, which was really good to see. But of course, the internet never forgets. But moving forward, he got into another controversy. He posted a video, how my video gear is changing, and there was two controversies with this video. So one, it was a sponsored video. Viewers criticized the video for being fully sponsored by DJI, and it was basically just perceived as this 10-minute advertisement rather than being his normal independent reviews. And then the other, and this is like really the one that made headlines, which was in the video, he was shown driving a sports car over 95 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour.
No excuse for that one.
And yeah, so of course, he faced a lot of criticism for that. He did edit out the speeding section of the video and issued an apology on X or Twitter. And acknowledge that it was a dangerous and irresponsible action. So
that's a lot.
That is a lot. And just from September, and then that happened, was that this month, last month? So just in the span of 2-3 months, very disappointing as a longtime viewer of his.
We're both fans of his.
Yeah. So how do you feel about this? Because I know when this initially happened, you talked about other YouTubers and how they start, whether they start their brand off as coming off as relatable or not relatable.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Like I remember that. I was saying, I wish sometimes people should be more like Mr. Who's the Boss, who I adore. He is not relatable. That's he's like, look at my new house, look at all my tech, and I love his channel because he just is who he is. With MKBHD, I felt like you could hang with him, and as years have gone on, maybe not so much. But that's the thing; he's not here to be my friend. He's here to review tech. However, I will say sometimes you should listen to other people and their thoughts and feelings and opinions, which he has. But you would think before he dropped that app, he would have solicited like some more opinions about the app. And if the editor, if whoever allowed that video to go out of him speeding, which he shouldn't have been doing, it's also a failure that video went out in the first place. Why didn't someone notice that? Mistakes happen, but that's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. And that's what I'm wondering is if he's gotten to the point where his team is he just basically surrounded by a bunch of yes men where, hey, this app, if I was working for him, my boss is a millionaire and he's, making this app that I don't think is going to work out. But am I in fear of losing my job by telling him, hey, $50, that's a bit much, with the editing, like how much power do, obviously the editors edit the video, but do they have the power to tell him, hey, like, you shouldn't have done this. Like, I'm going to cut this out, which would have saved him a lot of, headache after you already went through something.
Exactly. It's the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And while I don't want him to fall, I want him to at least do better. And listen, I'm sure that someone there had to have noticed these things. Like $50 is a lot of money to a normal person. So let's not do that. That would have been a simple just response question. And it's hopefully he will do better in 2025.
Yes, hopefully. Would you have paid for maybe like the $11.99 version? Or because I know because when I first heard about this, I was like, wallpaper app in 2024, what are we doing? But you told me and educated me that he actually has like a really niche following that really loves his wallpapers. Would you have subscribed if it wasn't for the price tiers?
See, I am one of those. I love his wallpapers, and I've seen other people talk about it. But
Hmm.
I love them to the point where I would try to find them myself or
Okay.
find the artist. Not like I would pay you
Yeah.
for that wallpaper. You know, I did appreciate, because we talked about this, and I was saying, if you made it so that you are clearly supporting the artist up front, and that
Mhm.
it's not about you making money. It's about supporting all these wonderful people. A lot of this could have been avoided too. But it didn't initially come off like that. But at least he listened to people.
Yeah.
And the speeding thing is more of it's poor judgment. But it's also why is no one telling you that you can't do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully 2025 is a better year for him overall, because I really do like him.
Yeah.
Um, and I just hate for him to fall into that category of, YouTubers who kind of just are constantly in controversies back to back to back to back. And then they just become a controversial YouTuber. So,
Mm-hmm. We
yeah.
don't need that. That's some tea right there.
Yes.
That's woo.
But Justin, let's talk about one of your points.
Okay, so as you know, Apple released a new updated iOS versions, and they're coming out right now. But also, they released a new phone. One of the things that they were touting was called Apple Intelligence, but it
Yes.
wasn't actually dropping with the phone, which is a fail right there. That was one of the main reasons why you would want to update the phone, because
Mhm.
the phone itself can support this new, exciting way of getting information. But Siri herself has not been good ever. And I'm saying that as someone who's very into home assistants. You know, I've had Siri, and I've had the Alexa. I've got all that stuff going on, and there's another one too I've used. But Siri is by far the one that I have nothing to say to, and I want nothing to do with. I will say that allegedly they are trying to work more to create it as a more Chat GPT like kind of experience where it'll actually be more useful, because Siri itself struggles with like basic functionality and even crisis responses.
Mhm.
And I know that Apple is really leaning into AI, but as of right now, the Apple Intelligence, it's, as someone on the beta who has been on the beta for quite a while,
Okay.
I have zero use for it. It does nothing new. It looks cool when you activate it, though.
Yeah.
But it's. I think the Siri needs a restructuring from the ground up, just to make it actually useful. It
Okay.
is more useful than before, but still, I still have no reason to just not go to Chat GPT and do something. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So you're saying Siri, so they're trying to integrate Apple Intelligence in Siri, so Apple Intelligence will work through Siri, but Siri
yes,
already from the start was not.
it's all one big thing. Like, you could be talking to Siri, but it'll access the Apple Intelligence, is what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're trying to rework Siri to make it even more intelligent and like responsive to you. And like, you can't really ask Siri a series of questions, or at least you couldn't before. And they're
Mhm.
trying to work on that so it's more conversational. A lot like you did a video on this, Chat GPT, the talking portion of it. It's wonderful. I've
Yes.
seen so many videos on it. But are you a home assistant user?
Yes, I do have an Alexa. So I do use her. She's sitting right here. So yeah, I have an Alexa. I used to have, I think Google, they have like a
Yeah.
home. Yeah. So I used to have one of those, but Alexa, I have an Alexa home. I can't remember which version. It's probably like an older one. But yeah, she's never steered me wrong. And yeah, with Apple Intelligence, I mean, I did also find it strange when they announced it that it wasn't shipping with the iPhone 16s. That was the first red flag.
Mm.
And I feel like with Apple, Samsung, Google, everyone is just really rushing to just integrate AI. All these uses for Apple Intelligence are really not necessary or needed for the average person. Like, I think there's one, and I did the video on it. I think there was one use where you can, like, if you were at a park and you see a dog, you could go up to it and like open up Apple Intelligence or Siri and ask it, "What dog is this?" And it would scan it or whatever and tell you what the dog is. And that was like in the Apple Intelligence presentation. That was a thing. And watching it, and a lot of people commented on it. Why would you need that? Why would you not? You literally walked up to a person and scanned their dog when you can just simply just say, "Hey, what type of dog is that?" So it's use cases like that that I feel like are really bringing, well, Apple Intelligence. I haven't heard a good thing, so who knows if that feature even works. But
You know, I have since I'm on the beta, I have the Memoji, and I have the image generation that it does, and I have that. I've used it, and I
okay,
have no use for it. Like
really,
but the image generation especially. Like I
Mhm.
understand that their idea is that they don't want it to look like an actual person. They want it to look kind of goofy so that you know it's AI, but then it just makes it look weird.
Yeah.
And with the Memoji, I can't even figure out how to do it. Like it was like I did something where I had Oprah. I have a lot of pictures of Oprah in my phone. I use her as
Okay.
a reaction
As we
picture.
all do.
Yeah, and so I had told it to generate a picture of Oprah eating a taco because
Okay.
Oprah represents me, and I'm going to eat tacos. So I'm like, and it did that. So now I use my Oprah taco emoji sometimes.
Okay.
And what is wrong with him? No, it's funny to my friends. Trust me. You
Okay.
never know what's going down in the group chat. But yeah, even I've used it to take text and make it sound like I was on the Gilmore Girls and send messages to my friends,
Mhm.
and it, just for fun. But that's not an everyday use. That's a goofy use. None of
Yeah.
it's everyday. It's also tying into that whole idea of you got to stay in touch with what people really want.
Exactly.
And if you want to rival something like ChatGPT, you have to kind of work on making it so easy. You know what they need?
What?
They need an app. Then I press the button and I just go into it. That's what people are used to. Integrating it into the phone itself is kind of weird because you have to get used to doing it that way.
Mhm.
And I think it would be simpler. Just keep in mind what people normally do whenever they're trying to live their lives and how they're used to consuming information. And I think most people aren't going to dig through an interface to find a button that does something. They're going to want click. There it is.
Yeah, and that's how I use because yeah, on my Samsung Notes in Google, there's Google Gemini. So that's like integrated through the phone or whatever, and I have to like hold down the bottom of the phone to like activate that. But I don't even go through all of that because it's just a little bit too much and it's finicky. So I just go and click on ChatGPT and I'll
Yeah.
get a question. And I feel like I understand wanting to make less steps and, everything has to be, less clickable, less buttons. But the old fashioned, let me go click on that app, it'll never go out of style. So I feel like
Oh,
that's definitely something that, they could bring with Apple Intelligence. Just make it a button, make it an app.
yeah. And you know what else never goes out of style?
What?
CrowdStrike having
Crowd?
issues. It's CrowdStrike. I've renamed the company. That's what they'll need to do. CrowdStrike. You want to talk about that?
Yes, CrowdStrike. Oh my God. So let's get into CrowdStrike. If you didn't hear about it or you weren't at the airport in July, CrowdStrike is a cybersecurity firm and they had a global IT outage. They basically sent an update to one of their softwares that a lot of Windows computers use. Windows computers, a lot of them have that CrowdStrike software on them. And when they sent that software update, there was a bug or faulty glitch in it. And it caused a massive worldwide outage for any computers that were using or running the Windows system. This included airports, hospitals. I mean, it went on. How many people did it affect? 8.5 million Windows systems
A
worldwide.
couple of people.
Yeah, just a few, just a
Just a
few, just
couple.
a few, just your neighbor. Yeah, there was a lot, of course, financial repercussions. They said that it ranged to the billions of dollars. The company did respond. The CEO, he apologized, of course. And of course, everything was fixed, but they did have to speak in front of Congress, which was funny that the CEO, he himself was not the one speaking in front of Congress. This was somebody else. And that poor man, blanking on his name, but he was going through it. I watched it. It's actually up on the Channel Insider site. But yeah, being someone who experienced it, I will never forget it. My kids and their grandkids were here
Oh,
about
wow.
because yeah, I've had like, airport delays with the plane and everything, but this was something that, because long story short, I was in Atlanta. I was supposed to return home on a Sunday, didn't get home until basically Monday night. I was supposed to come home Sunday at like 1, didn't get home until like late in the night Monday. And I just had to stay in the airport. I had to sleep in the airport, and it was just a traumatic experience. It was exhausting. It was crowded. It was hot.
Which airport?
This was what's like the main Atlanta airport?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it was through Delta. Delta.
Yeah, that's how I know what it is. I've flown Delta. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Delta was the worst. They did give me a few credits to apologize. But yeah, CrowdStrike, that was, I mean, for a cybersecurity firm like that, to have that big of just a failure with your system, I mean, that's reputation ruining right there. But how did you feel about it? Like, I know hopefully you weren't in the airport or had any family or friends that were traveling during that time, but how do you feel about it?
It's a corporation, but there are real people that work in that corporation. And then I feel bad for those people that had to try and figure this out. How massive this was. It was you could not escape it for that time period. And so, yes, I feel bad for the person that had to speak on it because, I'm sure you weren't sitting there trying to fix this yourself. You just have to, this is part of your job. But it is really reputation destroying. If I hear CrowdStrike, I think about that. Exactly. That is the first thing. It's like whenever we talk about Samsung and I think about the time that the phone, see, I haven't forgotten that. But that
was like 20 years ago, but
it was. And my children and my children's children. There you go.
Okay.
I will never forget that. But I do want a Samsung phone though. I really want one now.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk about that some other episode. But yes, it's hopefully they find a way to move forward while also making sure this never, ever, 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 ever happens again.
Yeah, this was definitely an important lesson for other cybersecurity firms like CrowdStrike that are connected to, the hospital industry, and just all these other places you never would have thought. Like, I remember when I went to the airport that week, I think it just started. So we were able to get out, but it just took a while. But then returning was when the issue really happened. And there was, of course, the blue screen of death. And that was just on all the screens and everything was crashing. And I was just like, oh my God, is this the end of the world? But then the information to figure out what was actually happening took a little bit to trickle in. But I think this was a hard lesson to learn. But I think overall, this was a really important lesson for CrowdStrike and for other cybersecurity firms.
Do you remember the Y2K? Were you around for that?
No, I mean, I was born in 97, but I wasn't.
Right. Oh, you were, yeah. I don't know if they ever talked to you about it, but like everyone thought everything would just stop working.
I've always heard about that. That was like a thing.
It was like CrowdStrike, but nothing happened. So it was like, oh gosh, the clocks are going to stop working. The planes are going to fall from the sky. And then nothing happened. We're like, oh, okay. Everything is flipped. But if CrowdStrike, if a thing of that magnitude happened back then, it would have been insane. I don't even know. It would have taken much longer to fix it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And it's funny. There's a movie coming out called Y2K.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And it made me sad because that must mean I'm 9,000 years old. It's a period piece from the 2000s. Woo! Yeah. That's quite a long time ago.
Yeah. But yeah, Justin, you want to talk about Sony, your favorite company that makes the best movies ever?
Sony's movies are not good, and they have not been performing well, and they have a real issue really leaning into Spider-Man. Is
Oh,
this a tech fail? Not quite. But what is a tech fail is how far they've fallen behind Nintendo. What they are doing right now is working on a handheld, which will come out at some point in the future to try and just, I would say the tech fail is just Sony as a whole. It's just not. Did you see any Sony movies this year?
no, I did not.
Ooh.
Oh, I can't even. The last Sony movie I probably did see was the last Spider-Man movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah, that was. I don't
Yeah,
remember when. Yeah,
yeah,
No Way Home. Was that the last? Was that the one with Jake Gyllenhaal? No Way Home.
yeah. I think so. Yeah. Oh, actually, that's a lie. The I just looked up Sony the movies that have come out this year.
Okay.
None of them are good. Madam Web.
Oh, what was Madam Web? Can we talk about this? Can we? The memes that came out of this were, and like you would see Dakota Johnson like doing press for this, like yeah. But she was just trying to get through it. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
so it could have been a great movie, but of
yeah,
course, no,
of course. And
no.
I'm assuming that things changed. Like once she like the first draft of the script that got her to sign on, that was probably a really good draft. And then things changed, and Sony got involved. So I'm sure because during that press event, I was like, "Dang, you signed up for this movie. You had to know it was trash from the beginning."
Yeah, but Sydney Sweeney came out a winner from that movie.
You did.
It helped her book her own deal to make the movie that she wanted to make. So good for her. But
Yeah.
just the lines from, I know there were other horrible movies, but that one
Yes.
was just, am I stretching it with a tech fail? No, I don't think I am, because even technically it was horrible. So that's, oh gosh. What else came out? Did they do?
They also came out with Tarot, that movie about the tarot cards. That was a horror movie. So
You are a horror fan.
yes. Great concept, bad execution. It was a PG-13 horror movie. So I don't know if you know about those, but any horror movie that's PG-13, it's generally I can't think of the last good PG-13 horror movie that I saw, but
I've seen episodes of Goosebumps that are scarier than that kind of stuff. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, that one. They also came out with It Ends With Us, which
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Did they do
that come out? 2024 Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Did that come out this year?
I mean, if it did, I did not see.
We weren't even.
It did.
Yeah. Wow.
They are not Sony.
But yes, they're trying to come out with the handheld now to compete with Switch, which we know they will not. They have a lot of stiff competition, especially with things like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, and you have to be able to do more than one trick. What would stop me from using a handheld system that will allow me to connect to a service to play your games?
Yeah.
You might not be able to do that with Nintendo, but you can with a lot of other games. Why would I buy your system for this game unless it's an exclusive? But then if I do that, is there some way for me to play it another way on one of my devices that's probably more powerful than the one that you're going to release? But yes, I think Nintendo has such strong IP, they can pull that off. But overall, Sony failed this year. They will continue to fail. Oh my gosh. Remember, was Harold and the Purple Crayon?
Was that them?
That I think it was them. Was that them?
Harold and the
Purple Crayon.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
My God.
Oh goodness gracious. That's some tea right there. Yeah. Speaking of tea, let's talk a little bit about something else that you brought up, because I know you've done some videos on it. The AI pins, because we have 2 AI topics to cover. So you rock on right there.
Yes, the AI wearables were definitely the thing of this year. Basically, all of them did not do well. One specific one was the human AI, however you want to that
Ooh.
yeah, that the Humane AI Pin. That was released at the beginning of this year. Basically, it was a wearable device that basically was supposed to, clip to you and be your phone, and it would be able to project things onto your hands. But everything that they promised that it could do, it could not. There was functionality issues, missing features, overheating, triggering for us Samsung users. The battery. And then, of course, they priced it at $699, and then later reduced it to $499. And then, ironically, it of course had negative reviews, but the biggest reviewer that basically, destroyed any future reputation for the Humane AI Pen was MKBHD. He labeled
Ooh.
it as the worst product that he's ever reviewed. And of course, I think the CEO or whoever created this, once the wallpaper app came out, he threw a dig at him on X because it basically tarnished the reputation of this AI pen. But yeah, that one, as soon as I saw it, I was like, do I really need this? AI wearables. I feel like with AI, I don't want to know it's there. If it's, something like that. There was also the friend necklace. That was another thing. I'm not sure if you had heard about that one.
Yes.
Basically, a
Yeah.
necklace you wear around your neck, you click it, and you're able to, talk to this AI voice. Um, yeah, I am not surprised that it failed, but I want to get your thoughts on like AI wearables and where you think is this something that you see like a future for in 2025? Because this year it's been a flop after flop, year after year.
What would I even do with it that I can't do with my phone?
Yeah.
Well, like, if you're going to give me an AI wearable, what is the purpose of it? It's not like the iPad. The iPad, remember when the iPad came out, people were like, who is this for? What is this for? What? And some people are still trying to figure out what it's for. But
Mhm.
with AI wearables, it would be more convenient to have a screen on it and access to a large network like, Chat GPT or Perplexity or any
Mhm.
of the LLMs that these other services use. But with these AI pens, most of them you can't see, or they have like a little teeny tiny interface. There was one where you
Yeah.
could see the rabbit. Was that one?
The Rabbit
Yeah,
R1.
yeah, and that had its own issues. I almost bought one just for fun, but at
Really?
least it was better than the human pen or human. I don't even know. It's so far in the past now, technology wise, that we don't even know how to say the name.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
But yeah, would you ever buy anything like that? Or would you rather all your AI stuff stick to just being an app in your phone? I know you don't wear a watch,
Yeah.
so that's out of the question. I know with glasses, there's the meta glasses. So
Right.
there's
I'd be
that.
scared of those.
Yeah, I know. Do you wear glasses?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Would you ever me personally, I'm fine with these, but I would feel weird if like there was a camera,
Yeah. Like there's these two little cameras. Like like if I go to the theater, I don't want to be like, sir, you must put your eyeglass cameras in a bag because we can't have you recording the movie because they're thinking it. Or just go to see a show on stage. You can't do that. It
Yeah.
is a lot of privacy issues involved in that. You did a story on doxing, didn't you?
Yes, yes. There was two college students from Harvard, and they basically built a software that was connected to the Meta glasses that was able to, when you wear them and you turn the software on and you look at someone, it was able to pull up all of the public information about them. And they just did it as a test. They didn't, of course, release this software publicly. They just wanted to make people aware of what, this technology is capable of. So privacy issues are definitely a big, big factor when it comes to AI wearables like that.
Yes, definitely. Speaking of that, since it's similar to what we're talking about right now, I listed the well. At first, I noticed that Nvidia is releasing something called Fugatto, which will allow you to generate pretty much anything you want using AI, whether that is you telling it to say something in a certain voice or say it in a certain way with a certain emotion, or even create music of a certain kind. You can go really descriptive into it or just mix something. And it's so faily because things like this are exactly why we had the actor strike earlier this year in 2024 and why, video game people are striking now. You have to be careful because what you're doing is you're creating technology that's going to put people out of work. And it's also going to disrupt the arts in a massive way. Is that a positive? Is that a negative? I'm biased, of course, because, I've done voiceovers before, many of them. I don't want something that can generate a human voice. And I've gotten a lot of requests from companies to buy.
Serious?
Yes. They're like, can you participate in this project where you just read this stuff? We're not going to keep your voice. We just want, no, ma'am. And also with the actor, there was a episode. Did you watch Black Mirror?
I do. I just got into it.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay,
I know I was late.
Yeah, there was an episode called Joan is Awful, which relates to the whole idea of just creating an entire persona of a person and making a whole show around it. And actors, of course, were very not happy about the implications of this happening in the industry. And then we find out that there are people that have already had their bodies scanned, just people that just wanted to exist as extras on a set, signing away their whole life and persona, a rather whole visible persona and existence to these companies that can just throw you in the background of a movie as a AI generated thingamajig. It's going to cause a lot of issues with rights. There are some actors that have flat out said, now I don't want anyone using my body as an AI construct when I die. Now, this was happening even before this year, but like you've seen like people like there wasn't there a Tupac hologram that they made at some point. Yeah. And actors don't want that happening, but it was one of the reasons why we ended up having this strike this past year. And one of the reasons why, video game people are like, hey, we don't want you stealing our voices and keeping track of everything that we say so you can generate a whole AI person and not pay me. What do you think?
Two things. Another episode on Black Mirror that was kind of similar that I just watched the other night was the one with Miley Cyrus.
Oh, Zoe, Duncan, Jack, and Jane. That's a TV show from the 90s. Okay. 2000. No, it was Ashley too.
Yeah, Ashley O.
Ashley. I think that was the name of it. It was Ashley. Did you? That song was such a bop that they made for that. I'm on a roll. Go ahead.
But yeah,
the name of it.
Okay, in that episode, she basically is just a singer, and then her aunt or whoever is her manager realizes that she's unhappy with her career, wants to take the music in a different direction. She is not having that, and basically slips her medication that puts her into this indefinite coma. Then they have this machine that can extract her lyrics and musical notes from her brain, and then they would produce it, rearrange it. That was a crazy episode. But
Rachel, Jack, and Ashley too.
Okay. Yeah. And so I 100% agree. I mean, even with earlier this year, there was the Scarlett Johansson and ChatGPT issue where they, put out, I believe, some new voices, and one of them was
Her.
Yes. Very similar to the movie Her. But yeah, one of the voices sounded just like her. And Sam Altman, it came out that he had previously reached out to her before they launched these new voices, and she said no. And then he came back before they launched the voices, and she said no again. And then they launched it, and wouldn't you know it, one of the voices sounds just like her. And of course, she had every right to be upset. I can only imagine as an actor or voice actor, having to worry about, your job security with something like this that is only becoming, more popular. Because I see it everywhere, where even artists will have to take down. I think it was for a while Spotify they like people were uploading for different versions of songs. Like like there was like what was it? There was like what's her name? Miley Cyrus was involved, and then I think Dua Lipa. Like there was a song that Miley did, and they created a Dua Lipa version, uploaded it to Spotify. That was a whole thing. So I feel like it's only going to continue, but I hope that the right people are supporting the rights of the actors and voice actors, because Justin, you can never be replicated. So I hope you know that.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, we'll see what happens, because you know what Madame Web says about the future.
Oh, what does she say?
The best part is it hasn't happened yet.
Oh my God.
That was my impression of Matt. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.
Yeah, that was so good. That was actually a little bit better. That was better. That was actually better. That movie, that was like the first movie that movie and the newest Strangers, the Strangers movie. I've never wanted my money back more, but we won't get into that. We won't get into that. But all right, so we ran through all the topics. Which one was the craziest failure for you this year? Like, which one were you really just shocked by?
The AI pin was. Yeah. I'm gonna go with that. You?
MKBHD, because I just been such a long time follower.
You weren't expecting that.
Yeah, I just really was not expecting that. I always really liked him. He always was super personable. So I don't know. I don't know if it, because I know he's a millionaire now. And I know people did have issues once he was interviewing, Elon Musk and some of those people. So I don't know. Maybe he's, no longer for the people. It's just, oof. Yeah. So
I hope he'll come back to himself. You know what I love? I love when these tech channels are like, I'm going to review a product that you can actually afford just for fun. This one episode this month.
Yeah.
You won't see it. Yeah. Like, what random Frank P. Got to give him a shout out for his tech under $50 and tech under $100 videos.
Ooh, okay.
He's like, I'm going to give you something that looks cool that you can actually pay for. So that's not like I built a $5,000 computer, or I built a $10,000 computer out of gasoline or whatever they're doing, something crazy.
Shout out to him for the people that, can afford those things. We all don't have the luxury. Some of us don't even have 2 iPads. I mean, what can I say?
Whoa. They serve different I bought the one from a poor woman who was a widow and she needed money. So I was helping her.
No, I'm just joking. Spiritually, I do have 2 iPads. I did my mom. Spiritually, I have 2 iPads. I bought her the iPad mini, and then a few years later, I bought her the iPad Pro. So spiritually, I also do have 2 iPads. So I'll leave that joke alone.
This week.
But all right, that wraps up the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel and wherever you listen to your podcasts, and stay tuned for the next episode of Tech and Tea. Till next time, see you guys.
Bye.